Hello students, welcome to the course Digital Signal Processing. In this course today we are going to discuss unit number 2, that is Z transform. So let's see the properties of the Z transform. So this is what the next property, that is time reversal property of the Z transform. So in case of the time reversal property, the statement is quite simpler to understand. So in this case, x of minus n will have the z transform, that is x of 1 by z. So this can be represented as a x of z inverse. Similarly, if we want to revert these things, like x of z inverse will have the inverse z transform, that will be x of minus n. So the ROC for this one is exactly invert. So that's why it is 1 upon Rx. So when we write down the ROC for this case, it is ROC is inverted. So let's see the example. So x of n, if it is given by a raised to minus n, u of minus n, so it is inverted fashion, which we have seen in the earlier case, which is just provided in the shaded portion, that is x of n, if it is a raised to n un, then obviously it is having the x of z, that is z by z minus a, and the ROC will be mod z greater than mod a. So with respect to this particular formula, we can just proceed to get the z transform for this particular sequence, that is x of n is equal to a raised to minus n u of minus n. So time reversed version of a raised to n u of n will be what? X of z is equal to 1 upon 1 minus az. So how this is been taken place over here? Just replace the z by 1 by z. So it will be simplified in other way, like minus a inverse z inverse divided by 1 minus a inverse z inverse. So obviously for this case, the new ROC will be what? Mod z less than mod of a inverse. So in order to have the conclusion for this time reversal property, here x of minus n is the folded version of x of n. So x of minus n is the time reverse signal. Thus the folding of signal in time domain is equivalent to replacing z by z inverse in z domain. Or we can also conclude that folding in the time domain is equivalent to the inversion in z domain. So already you know what is meant by the folding of a sequence. So when we try to write down the folding of, let's say, this particular sequence, if it is given like this, let's say this is 1 and this one is 2. So if this is x of n, so its folding will be like this. So this will be exactly opposite to that of the negative side. So this will be minus 1 and this is minus 2, like that. So this is what the folding of this particular sequence, which is concentrated on the right side. So and this one will be the folding of that sequence, so x of minus n. So this is how we can conclude for the time reversal property. Now let's proceed to the next, that is convolution property. So in case of the convolution property, the things are quite simpler to understand. That is x1 of n into this time x2 of n will give the z transform, that will be x1 of z into x2 of z. Means individual z transform of this x1 and x2 will be multiplied for the convolved signal, or ROC for this case will be the intersection of ROCs of x1 and x2. So convolution in time domain is multiplication in z domain. So let's consider one of the example over here. The example which we are going to take is quite simpler. Let's say we want to calculate the z transform for the sequences when they convolve to each other. So the example is, let's calculate the convolution of what? x1 of n is equal to a raised to n un and x2 of n is equal to u of n. So for x1 of n, by comparing this particular formula, that is x1 of z, I need to calculate. So its x1 of z will be what? 1 upon 1 minus az inverse. So once we got this x1 of z, which is just pointed over here, this is what x1 of z, and its ROC will be obviously mod z greater than mod a, because the signal which is given is causal sequence. It is a raised to n u of n. Similarly, second sequence is x2 of n, which is given equal to u of n. So if it is 1 raised to n un, means obviously it is u of n itself, so its z transform will be what? X2 of z. So for this particular case, the x2 of z will be what? 1 upon 1 minus z inverse, since the value of a is 1. So obviously the ROC will become mod z greater than 1. So once we got these two transform, let's say x1, let me just point out here, this is x1 and the x2. So the third case, by multiplying this 1 and 2, we will get, let's say, the y of z. That is what? Third case. So after this one, we can easily obtain x1 of z into x2 of z based on which concept? That is what? The convolution property, which is just pointed over here. So convolution of two sequences will result in multiplication of these two in z transform. So that is what done over here. So x1 and x2 of z are calculated and their multiplication is resulted over here. So once we got this resultant multiplication, that is in this particular format, we can able to just conclude the ROC. The ROC will be what? If mod a less than 1, ROC is mod z greater than 1. If mod a is greater than 1, ROC is mod z greater than mod a. Now let's see how to get the y of n if someone gives us this particular task. So here we need to proceed in a reverse way. That is nothing but y of n from y of z means it is inverse z transform has to be obtained. So for this case, when we want to calculate it, so let's say this is what y of z. Assume the ROC is mod z greater than 1. So ROC is assumed as a greater than 1 value. So if it is greater than 1, this is what we can do. So take the inverse z transform so that this y of z will be converted into y of n. So that is what done in the next step. So here it will be converted. Now since mod z is greater than 1, so obviously the signal is concentrated towards the causal side, so it is represented in terms of u of n only. So here everywhere we can just observe that it is u of n. So its reflection will be provided in terms of, let's say, a raised to n plus 1 based on this particular value, that is delayed sequence. So since it is delayed sequence, so next is nothing but u of n. Why it is? Because 1 upon 1 minus z inverse. So its inverse z will be what? Only the u of n. So that is what we have seen earlier. So u of n will be giving the value, that is z transform will be 1 upon 1 minus z inverse. Similarly, a raised to n un will give the z transform as a 1 upon 1 minus az inverse. So that is what done over here, and this is how it is calculated with the value as y of n. Now let's proceed to the next property, that is initial value theorem. This is quite simpler to understand. What is initial value theorem? It is defined like for the causal sequence, let's say x of n is equal to 0 for n less than 0. So when we say x of n is equal to 0 for n less than 0, obviously it is the causal sequence. So for this causal sequence, the initial value theorem can be provided as a x of 0 is equal to limit z tends to infinity x of z. So here obviously the initial value is indicated by the term x of 0, that's why it is pointed over here as a initial value. So this is all about the initial value theorem. Similarly, we can go for the final value theorem also. So these are some of the theorems related to the Z transform, as well as we have seen additional properties like convolution, then the time shifting, then the scaling, as well as the linearity. So thank you everyone. Thank you very much. In the next lecture, we will see how to calculate the Z transform. Thank you. Thank you very much.